we're still in the middle of this tsunami of baby boomers retiring. The
Mhm.
average insurance agent's 55 years old. Over the next 10 years, we're going to be seeing a ton of insurance agents exiting the business because they're going to retire. Christian and I personally just took a book off of someone's hands, and they're basically transitioning into retirement themselves. So we have personally experienced this exact scenario very recently. This is similar to the conversation we had about referral partners, where you should absolutely allocate time for this, but this isn't something that's going to generate revenue right away for you as an agent, as a business owner. So you can't go all in on this. You can't spend your entire week trying to find this person.
Right.
Not to mention, this is kind of a diamond in the rough you're looking for. I mean, this is depending on your local area, because that's what I'm thinking about. My local area, there's very few agencies around me. So, if you're in a major metro area, you probably have a higher probability of finding this person that you're looking for. I don't know. I guess what you'd have to really do is probably, I mean, and this again, it does kind of connect to this referral business part, because we talked about how sometimes the best referral partners are actually other Medicare agents. So maybe you could even approach it like that, right? Maybe you're getting a list of Medicare agents and agencies in your local area, and you're just kind of networking with them, right? You don't come in maybe necessarily with, hey, who's taking over your business when you die or when you retire? Maybe you don't come in at that angle. Maybe you come in and just be like, hey, I'm a newer agent. If I have someone that I can't help, can I refer them to you? Would that be okay? I just want to network with you and blah, blah, blah. And then maybe as you learn more information, once you connect with this other agent or other agency owner, maybe then you can extract kind of that, who's taking over your book. I don't feel like that's like a first conversation type of thing, in my opinion.
Can I share some thoughts I had?
Yeah,
Because I was
please
thinking
do.
about that. I was thinking about this
Yeah.
morning as I was on the verge of vomit, pumping iron. Just kidding. All I could think about was succession planning.
Good Lord.
Each
Good
rep
Lord.
got me closer to the succession. Who's your heir? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, audience. But no, I hope I'm going to share some value with you. What if you kept it simple and you told yourself 80%, you do the 80-20 rule. 80% of your time spent on prospecting, 20% of your time looking for this diamond in the rough. Because if you find it, it automatically puts you so much farther ahead. What if the easiest way to find this person is by looking for someone to put your contracts under that fits that criteria? Because if you're in their downline, you work directly together. That would probably be the position I would be looking for. Probably most likely a local agency, maybe a guy that's been doing this 20, 30 years, older guy, doesn't have any kids or any kids that are interested in the business. How do you find these people? I'll get to that in a second, but somebody that has 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 clients, something like that. Maybe they're a GA, so on the Medicare Advantage side, so they have 2 or 3 other downline agents, but you position it like, hey, I would like to come in, work hard, be your best agent, grow into becoming your best agent. I'd like to earn your trust and potentially come in and be worthy of being your heir potentially, right? That's a tough first conversation to have. If someone came in to me and said something like that, no, first off, I don't have 2 or 3 agents. We have 600. So I would laugh in someone's face and tell them to fuck themselves if someone came in and that was their first conversation with me.
Right.
So, but maybe like have that in mind, right? There's no guarantee you're going to find somebody that's going to agree to do that right off the bat, but maybe you strategically pick who your upline is going to be and somebody that potentially could,
that's interesting,
develop that relationship. And then if it turns out they're not going to develop that relationship after you've been doing it a few years, you learn what you can from them. Maybe it makes sense to break off, but like that's probably the most realistic way, because if you think about people that are heirs, not always, but a lot of the time it comes from somebody that that you have a relationship with.
The tough part here is if you come into an agency where there's already like 2 or 3 other agents, you would think someone's potentially already been earmarked for this. So now you're going to have to really, get violent, like you're saying, right? I mean, really compete. You're competing for daddy's love at this point, right? I mean, you want to be the favorite child.
Mm-hmm.
So the scenario that I'm thinking in my head was really almost like a solo producer. But I love the idea of contracting under them because now you're aligning their interests and they can work with you and you can service the book, all of those things. It does really align you with this person if you're contracted underneath them. By the way, did you say 80% of your time should be spent looking for this? Did you
No,
say
other
that?
way around.
Other way.
80,
Okay.
80.
I was
Yeah.
like, you're insane. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, there's no way
No.
you said 80% of
No,
your time.
80% of your time should be spent prospecting, and maybe 20% of your time should be spent looking for this person. But here's the thing, if you put your
Yeah.
contracts under them, you probably are starting with them from the jump, from the get-go.
Right.
I think if you found the right person and you did put their contracts with them, that probably has much more upside for you if that is your end goal than putting your contract under some massive FMO with 10,000 agents where you're never, ever, ever going to be in the running for that, right?
So,
they're going to sell to private equity or something like that.
So let's take this a step further. So you're interviewing for working at this agency. The idea would be kind of during the interview process before you contract would be to try to get a feeling maybe if there's a possibility that this could happen. And if you feel like there is a possibility, you take a chance there. And then if it doesn't look like it's really going to happen in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then maybe you segue out and you go somewhere else. That's kind of what you're thinking.
Yeah, like you gain experience. Worst case scenario, right? If it doesn't look like it's going to happen, you gain experience. You start writing some clients. I suppose you could take a position at an agency as an LOA, but you don't have to, right? It could be a downline independent agent type of thing. I think that is a much more realistic scenario than finding somebody that's a stranger that is willing to let you be their heir, because those guys are probably way more likely to sell their book to us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Opposed to somebody that just got their license. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
I think to find somebody and for them to develop that trust in you, I feel like it's going to take time. I think it's very, very unlikely that you're just going to talk to them a few times and they're going to be like, yep, come on in, run my business I built for 30 years. You've never written a policy, but come on in, little Billy. Right.
Yeah.
But if you can strategically pull that out, I would be thinking about these things. I would be having these conversations internally in my head about how can I strategically position myself in this way, in a way that I never would have thought of starting off. So maybe it involves you writing 1, 2, 3, 400 clients first under this person's downline, and then you grow that relationship. And, if someone is older and they've been doing this long time and they don't have an heir, they typically are going to want to do something to get out.
Isn't this kind of the big pull on some of the bigger companies on the P&C side of the industry? Isn't this kind of what they do? You come in, you're given old clients from someone else's book, you're taking over an area, they're trying to kind of jumpstart your career, right? I mean, isn't that kind of the same mentality that like a State Farm or a farmer's agent a lot of times they get? Am I wrong?
I'm so unfamiliar with that world, so I can't really I'm the wrong person to ask, I think.
Joe Camper, comment right now, please, Joe.
Yes.
I mean, that's my understanding though, especially with like a company like State Farm, or Farmers. It's like you don't own the book. When you're done or you retire, another agent's going to come in and take over to service your clients.
Right.
So the point of that though is to show that like if it's working on that side of the industry, surely there could be a similar situation that could develop here. Here's where I struggle with this whole situation is as a business owner now, and the way I operate today is like a situation like that, I would want to get something in writing. I would want something in writing that says like in 5 years or less, I'm taking over the agency. The problem is, like you said, though, is as a brand new agent coming into an unless they're desperate, unless you've got someone that's desperate or stupid.
If you can find someone stupid, go all in. Cannonball, baby.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, I only say that portion of it playing a little bit more of a long-term game, or maybe even positioning yourself in a way to where this could be possible without a guarantee, because I think the chance of you finding somebody that's going to agree to that, put something in writing, they don't really know you that well, is so low. I mean, it's almost got to be zero.